My name is Carson and this is On Air with Heritage Action, a podcast built for conservatives. Twice a week, we break down some of the most important issues facing our country and talk about how you can get involved today in the fight for conservative values. The midterm elections are right around the corner. Between inflation and the economy and crime and safety and security, there are a lot of issues on voters' minds right now. As everyone is getting ready to head to the polls and cast their ballots, this is also a good time to give some updates on the new measures that are in place in several states across the country to secure our elections. And it's a great time to remind citizens how they can find out more about their own state's laws and get involved with our ongoing election integrity efforts. You might remember that last year, Heritage Action invested an initial $10 million into a first ever state advocacy campaign to secure and strengthen state election systems. Since then, we have worked alongside grassroots activists and state lawmakers to work towards historic laws that will help make it easy to vote and hard to cheat. The goal of this advocacy campaign is simple. Voters must be able to trust that their votes will count and their voices will be heard. Elections are the bedrock of democracy. There should be laws and safeguards in place to protect them from fraud and outside influence. As we deployed grassroots leaders and activists to help make important improvements at the state level, we also worked with the Heritage Foundation and pulled from their list of best practices to strengthen election systems and safeguard against fraud. Some of these best practices that we helped push in states across the country include proposals to regularly verify the accuracy of voter registration lists, to verify citizenship of voters, to require voter ID, to limit absentee ballots, and to prohibit private funding of election officials and government agencies. And we've seen some great progress in a ton of states. In Florida, for example, the legislature passed and Governor DeSantis signed SB 524. This legislation creates a statewide Office of Election Crimes and Security to investigate election crimes and fraud. It prohibits ranked choice voting, and it improves voter roll maintenance, and it increases penalties for ballot harvesting and voter fraud. Another one of their efforts, SB 90, contains several different provisions to protect elections, like banning the use of private money to fund election operations, improving observation of the signature verification process, and preventing the mass mailing of absentee ballots. Thanks to the thousands of grassroots activists in Florida who engage with their state legislatures, Florida's election integrity efforts became a model for other states who want to ensure free and fair elections. Florida was a great example of a successful push for electoral protections, but other states across the country also led incredible legislative initiatives to protect their own systems. Several states across the country took important steps to protect their elections from, say, outside influence, manipulation, and private money, because we all know how important it is that our elections are free from the influence of big tech billionaires. Aside from Florida, other states like Mississippi, Kentucky, Utah, South Dakota, and Oklahoma led initiatives to ban what we call Zuck bucks and instead ensure election administrators only receive public funding. Improving the accuracy of voter rolls was another thing that a lot of states did as a common sense safeguard. This includes ensuring that only those eligible to vote are registering. Arizona, for example, passed HB 2492, which required that state voter registration applications are only accepted for those who provide documentary proof of citizenship. In addition to Arizona, other states like Utah, Texas, and Georgia also strengthened their voter ID requirements. States like Tennessee and South Carolina also worked on bills to ensure the accuracy of their voter rolls and to establish ways to take action against those who try to manipulate or violate our voting systems and laws. Of course, a lot of these common sense reforms were met with misguided opposition from the left. In Georgia, for example, the left pushed a massive misinformation campaign to inaccurately label the state's new voting law as voter suppression. In reality, the bill preserves and expands ballot access in a lot of important ways and made sure that it's easy to vote and hard to cheat in Georgia. And the left really lost their own argument here after news reports came out celebrating the record high turnout in elections in Georgia after the law went into effect. So now, as we head into the midterm election season, first and foremost, everyone eligible should go vote. But you should also check out your state's laws and other ways you can get involved to help continue these efforts to strengthen and secure our electoral systems. Especially if we haven't talked about your state today, you should check out the Heritage Foundation's Election Integrity Scorecard to see how your state measures up. Voting is our civic duty. It's important that everyone heads to the polls this cycle to make sure your voices are heard. We still have a lot of work to do on the election integrity front, but we've made some really promising headway on the issue. And after this election, if the polls are right, then we're looking at a new wave of conservative leaders coming into office with a mandate from the American people. With that new vision and leadership, a lot more can be done to protect our nation's elections. Even outside of the states, there are steps that Congress can take. For example, Congress can support Representative Jim Banks' proposal, the Save Democracy Act, which would implement smart election reforms to uphold the principle of one citizen, one vote. If you want to get involved with these efforts and make a difference in your own state, head over to saveourelections.com to see what you can do. To join our growing group of grassroots activists across the country, be sure to text JOIN to 51776. Again, that is JOIN, JOIN, to 51776. And as always, make sure you're constantly reaching out to your federal and state lawmakers and telling them you're concerned about election integrity and you want to see your vote protected. Tell them to support the different election integrity proposals in your state or Representative Banks' proposal in Congress. And tell them they need to do everything in their power to continue rejecting Nancy Pelosi's plan for a federal takeover of state election laws. That's it for another episode of On Air with Heritage Action. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you heard in today's episode, please click the follow button. If you want to receive a text message each time a new episode airs, text podcast to 51776 and you'll never miss an episode. That's podcast to 51776. Hi, it's me again, and we need your help. If you like the insights and activist resources we are providing, please take 1 minute and help us spread the word. Share this episode with friends and family on social media, email, or text. We need everyone's help in the fight to hold Washington accountable. And don't forget, you are also able to subscribe and listen to episodes on your smartphone. Just open up your favorite podcast app and search for On Air with Heritage Action. Click subscribe and download episodes so that you can take them with you on the go. It's the best way to make sure you never miss a thing. Thanks.